if I were the mayor, when you take the plane in, the airplane magazine, you'd be on the cover every single time. This is why you should come to Montreal. You're cultural icons.
Give him the money.
What's not to like? It's an obscenity and a crime against God and all that's decent, but it's delicious. This is a great country because of this city. Without Montreal, Canada would be hopeless. It's where the cool kids hang. I think it's a win-win situation, actually. If we get arrested, it's good. We all of us have our Waterloo. Mine will be in about 15 minutes.
"24 hours in Montreal, it depends what time, but I would suspect first thing in the morning I would go for breakfast, lunch. Oh, lunch, dinner in Montreal, oh man. Usually what I do is I stick my finger down my throat and I purge so I can go eat again, but that's me, not everyone has the same, same habits.
I don't really know what Montreal is like for normal people. What I can tell you is that for chefs, it's notoriously a very dangerous place, largely because of these guys.
Norman and Martin and Joe Beef Dudes. This is a great chef culture.
But that comes later. You should know, Montreal is close, about an hour and change from New York City. If you care, its exact location is on an island at the confluence of the St. Lawrence and Ottawa rivers. That's not so important to know. Montreal is located in southwest Quebec, however. That is important to know. If you're flying, chances are you'll arrive at the Trudeau International Airport, about 20 miles from the city center.
Come on, let's get in the cab, guys, let's go.
Safely on the ground, minus a pretzel dog spooge shirt, I've got just over 24 hours here.
Such are the tragic circumstances of my life that I found myself standing around in LaGuardia this morning, suddenly with limited meal options. And I bought the pretzel dog. I take a bite and the freaking dog squirts out of the pretzel tube and it lands right on my shirt. But it's all good now.
From the airport, you can take a cab to town for a flat fee of about $38, or a limo for about twice that amount. If you're on a budget, about $8 will get you into town on the shuttle to the main bus terminal, where you could connect with the metro. But with luggage, that'll be about as much fun as a back rub from a rabid bonobo, so try to avoid. If you're driving, cool. Just know that here, French would come in handy.
Even though Montreal is bilingual, the traffic signs are in French.
The 101 bill to protect the language.
The street signs are only in French. Directions can be tricky too.
Here's the way it works. It's so strange, but the north is not north like the North Pole because we use the river. Go figure, we don't use the stars like the rest of the world. We use the river as sort of our reference point. So to us, the north is like sort of this way, it's almost west, which makes south kind of east. Anyway, the point is, bring the iPhone, make sure you have the app, you'll be fine.
And it's worth knowing as well that the speed limits are in kilometers per hour, not miles. So be aware of that little detail as well, okay? What should you know about Montreal? Well, that it's not Little Paris north of the border.
It's not France. Nobody wants this to be France. But it's also not North America. It's kind of in between.
You don't really have to speak French to come here.
Montreal is a super bilingual city. French is accepted as much as English is accepted. They're both official languages, to a point where it's a little bit schizophrenic.
And you don't come here to eat French food, though there's plenty of it should you want. Food is, however, a major reason to come here. There are plenty of hotels for all budgets in Montreal, but as I mentioned, I'm meeting some very dangerous friends and have an early departure. I might not need a hotel this time around.
So it's really going to be back in Montreal. Gee, I wonder what it says in the travel guide. Montreal was named the bank robbery capital of North America in 1988. The Irish mob has a wing here. That's encouraging. Sin City, abundance of strip clubs. Don't be fooled into going to non-contact clubs. Full contact clubs are the same price. This is utterly useless, as always.
Breakfast, that's useful, right? Over in the Plateau neighborhood, there's Beauty's Luncheonette. It's where they pretty much invented breakfast around here.
It's never changed. It stayed the same as it was back in the 40s. Jaime Skolnick runs this and has since he was a child, and now he's about 90.
How do you do?
Welcome, nice to have you.
How long has this place been in operation? It's beautiful.
1942, we were the first ones to start breakfast in Montreal. In those days, nobody ate in restaurant during the war.
3 generations of Skolnicks run this place. They pretty much got it figured out.
What should I have?
We're known for the special, which is the bagel with the smoked salmon, cream cheese, onion, and tomato. And then we're also well known for our fish mash omelet, which is hot dog, salami, fried onions, and green peppers.
I'm gonna go for the bagel. So the great debate, who has the better bagel, New York or Montreal, is a completely ridiculous apples and oranges discussion, because they're completely different creatures. You know, they have a very old Jewish community here for a long time. They've been making bagels a long time, just they make them different. They're sort of crispier, sweeter. I'm a New Yorker, so you know where my allegiance lies. But I think it's unfair to both quite magnificent products to try and compare them.
But if you're looking to settle the pointlessly contentious argument about who has the better bagel, you might begin your investigations here. At Saint-Viateur's, one of the best examples of the local style. Hand-rolled, wood-fire baked, and using the same Eastern European recipe they brought over half a century ago. And they are indeed very, very good. Grab a bagel and check out the surroundings. Mile End is an artsy neighborhood. You got your boutiques, your galleries, or your bohemian cafes like this one. If you are a citizen of the People's Republic of Laptopistan and like sitting for hours sipping the latte, listening to Tracy Chapman, and twirling your soul patch while perusing your Twitter feed, maybe Club Social works for you. Personally, I'd rather dunk my head in boiling duck fat.
Haven't had a morning crap yet. A little concerned. Contemplating the mysteries of the bagel.
Hey, like books? I know I do. In fact, I recently became a publisher of fine books, and hopefully some of them will be sold at fine independent bookstores like this one, Appetite for Books. As part of a new campaign of pandering to the indies, I meet up with Jonathan Chung, himself a trained chef who grew up in his family's restaurant business. He's taking me over to the market, a particularly good one I happen to know from previous experience. Destination, Montreal, Little Italy. Means of transportation from his store in Westmount, for Jonathan anyway, bicycle.
Montreal is considered North America's hub for bicycle riding. You can't throw a stone without hitting somebody on a Bixie bike.
The Bixie bike is a ubiquitous rental bike. You can find rows of them at any of 400 docking stations around town. Pay a small fee and go anywhere you like. Just drop the bike off at any other station.
Montreal's finest. It's like I'm riding my bike to go buy some crack or something.
One activity in Montreal, grab a Bixie bike all over the city. We're full of bike paths, we're full of interesting characters. Only thing to do, Bixie around, check out, people watch.
What is this? So like parking for bikes? That's like extremely environmentally friendly. We don't have that in New York. This would be called a buffet for thieves in New York.
Voila.
Wow.
All right. Market is that way.
This neighborhood is known for 2 things, Italian immigrants and this. This is Le Marché Jean Talon, one of 2 main farmers' markets. People tend to get exuberant about growing things around here in summer.
The winter is brutal. It kills us. You know, minus 40 degrees Celsius, which I don't know what the conversion in Fahrenheit is, but it's cold. Icicles that form on your eyes.
The cold does keep the riffraff indoors. As well as like the snakes. There's no snakes because it's cold. We hate snakes. There's no Ebola virus because it's cold. Cholera is very little ninjas.
Sweat your balls off in the summer and freeze your ass off in the winter.
It's such a short growing season. Right when the ground thaws, things start popping up right away. Because they know there's not a lot of time for it to grow.
Peak season, when everything is bursting out of the ground and flowering, and the 20 or so year-round shops swelled to over 300 seasonal vendors.
One day they'll have beautiful red peppers and fresh English peas. And by the end of the week, they're not going to be here anymore because the season's over. And they're going to be more into tomatoes, onions, and beautiful radishes. You can't walk away with nothing. Even you, Tony, come on.
Just thinking about cheese, is what I'm thinking about. Cheese and cured meat.
Oh yeah, cured meats. Sadly, we won't be showing you any of them. Here's something. In Montreal, enlightenment about cheeses still reigns. That means you can still get unpasteurized raw milk cheese, banned by ignoramuses in the States since 1949.
So let me get this straight. You can use raw milk cheese now in your 60 days.
You have to age it 60 days that they say that then like everything dies.
This is very good news for artisanal cheesemakers like this guy.
This guy makes one cheese.
One cheese.
One cheese. This is raw goat's milk cheese, actually.
That was really good. A little more, yeah.
Like after you eat this, you get this kind of aftertaste that sits with you, and it coats your mouth, and it's a lot more full, richer.
Well, you taste what the animal ate.
Absolutely.
It's the greatest single crime against food is that they make it so difficult to make cheese as good as it should be, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful and delicious.
If you want a larger selection from all over the place, wherever they got it good, then La Fromagerie Atwater would be a good option. Proprietor Gilles Jourdain has done all the legwork for you.
Cheesemakers in Quebec, we have about 85. I sell 850 cheeses right now if you come to the shop.
It's like a cheese sommelier.
The one strength I have is I have a fantastic memory. I remember what I sold to my customer 2 years ago when he married his daughter. It's a living, breathing product, so that's what's fun about it.
I am totally bootlegging in some cheese, or maybe I can get one of the camera people to body pack.
So the myth about Montreal is that there's a whole underground city.
And a lot of the tourists that come here think it's something really exciting and that they're gonna go in these tunnels and that it's super sci-fi.
It's literally a collection of cheap clothing stores, drug stores, metro stations. So you'll never find anybody hanging out in the underground city. Hey, let's go have a drink.
It's a shopping mall.
The Montreal metro system is modeled, they say, on the Paris metro. And it ain't bad. It runs about $3 for a trip or $8 for a 24-hour pass. I'm headed over to Old Montreal. '17th century architecture? Nice. Quite pretty, actually.
You get the point. It's old, it's pretty. Stop! Hey. They have heads in Montreal too. Good to know we don't have the exclusive.
Old Montreal is where it all began, from the old port to the cobblestone shopping streets. Nowadays, it's a magnet for tourists and all that comes with that. Mines, human statues, people dressed up like colonials? Not so nice.
Oh, no. Really?
I hate this actually.
What am I going to Colonial Williamsburg here? What the
Jesus, this is like Renaissance fair. I'm meeting this guy, Adam Goldner, a respected food writer, and I'm having serious doubts about his plans. Purportedly to cover Montreal's culinary history over a nice lunch.
Bonjour.
C'est pour quelle production? C'est déjà organisé avec le restaurant. We're gonna get shut down by an old saint.
Yeah, you're gonna shut down the ye old constable. Gonna end up in ye old stocks. I mean, do they get punished or docked wages if they break character?
Well, if their white pantyhose drips down a little bit, then they might get
right. Or if they're caught smoking a joint or like listening to Big Boy that's it's points off.
Yeah, absolutely. They're only allowed to listen to fiddle music.
Right, and the lute.
Yeah, the lute is very big here.
This restaurant, Club Chasse et Pêche, happens to share a terrace with the museum next door, but is unaffiliated. The restaurant's name means hunting and fishing club in French.
I hate colonial, honestly. I saw those people in the stockings, yet I pretty much wanted to cold cock them.
Yeah, but dude, that's not where we're at right now.
You know they got a loom in there right there.
They don't even know we're here.
We're good.
Happily, the waitstaff aren't in period garb, and there's not a beaver steak in sight.
Tuna tartare with the guacamole and tartare chips. Some lobster from Marin Island, you know, the chipotle mayonnaise, basil, some crisp vegetables. The scallop ceviche, the grapefruit foam with fennel pollen. Bon appétit, enjoy it. Merci.
Merci.
Apparently, the incongruity of grapefruit foam isn't enough to stop Adam from talking about ye old good days.
The tradition of this land,
right?
It started as a place where people came to catch beavers.
As tulips were to Holland, as oil is to Saudi Arabia, the beaver pelt was everything.
Oh my God, yeah.
A little bite of some octopus, celebrated a bit of smoked paprika with a form of smoked potatoes with a salad, corn, beans, and cherry tomato.
Beautiful.
Bon appétit.
Merci.
Guys that came here from France and lived off the land, they were kind of learning to mix their like French styles with the ingredients from here.
We're not talking trappers here.
No, we're talking the like well-fed outdoorsmen.
Oh, that's pretty. That's the magret.
Duck magret on butternut squash, pearl onion, jalapeno, and red pepper.
Oh, that is really beautiful. Thank you. I'm happy.
Personally, though my octopus and duck were delicious, this is more my speed. A nice grilled cheese with meat at l'emporte-pièce.
Celui-là, c'est le grilled cheese Appenzeller. C'est un fromage suisse assez puissant en bouche avec une épaule de bœuf braisée à l'intérieur. Donc, quand tu manges ça, c'est comme une explosion dans ta bouche. Yeah. Yeah, baby. Ça, c'est bon.
Or maybe over to Marvin's for some old world Greek food in the park extension area.
This neighborhood used to be all Greek, but there's still a good portion of Greeks here. It's the same family that had it for 37 years going now. If I had to order from Marvin's, if I was a first-time customer, I would order a calamari to start off, and then obviously I'll go with a rib steak. And I won't need to eat for the rest of the day, that's for sure.
At the very least, you'll leave the mimes and period garb of old Montreal behind.
This place was always touristy in that lame kind of people covered in chrome paint, standing still.
I hate those people. Elbowed a mime on the way over. The human statues?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, get a job. Get a job.
In Montreal, the traffic lights work this way. Red means stop, yellow means hurry up, and green means speed through like a son of a bitch. Crossing the street is like, it's almost like a sport. It's going to be on ESPN soon.
You run for your life, you get a little shot of adrenaline for 5 seconds a couple times a day.
Everybody jaywalks here. Everybody gets away with it.
Oddly enough, if a car has the right of way in Montreal and the pedestrian is jaywalking, the pedestrian gets angry at the car for not having stopped.
8.25 hours into my thrilling layover in Montreal. So much fun, so little time. Look at that clock ticking. La Chine Canal, a 14.5 kilometer industrial waterway turned park.
Hey, it's Guy Zimmern.
What's up, bro? You good? How are you? Good to see you.
Hi, the man that makes me look small every time.
Time to meet up with my soul brothers from way back, the truly terrifyingly dangerous Fred Morin and Dave McMillan, known and remembered often with damaged brains by chefs everywhere. These guys are legendary for putting the hurt on visiting chefs. And their restaurant, Joe Beef, is the perfect place to do that.
I mean, you're cultural icons.
Give him the money.
Yeah.
Strangely, however, the two insist on meeting me down along the canal.
So we going boating?
Boating? Why?
Fred's childhood friend has this dragon boat, and they do the dragon boats to raise money for different charities and this and that.
A lot of this biking and rowing and hiking and jogging.
You have to get it all into the
right?
8 weeks where there's no snow.
What? I did not see this coming.
We just came back from the Canadian Championships, so that was all over Canada. In about 3 weeks, some of us are going to a World Championships.
I hope to hell I don't actually have to work. I mean, these women are professionals, right?
You've probably seen canoeing, right? Canoeing is lazy paddle. We don't do that.
Right.
We do strong, muscular paddle. So front to the back, out. Okay, so chefs, just copy the girl. Paddles up. Take it away.
I got water in my mouth. Holy, this sucks.
Attention span issues.
My ADD is raging. You, Fred? Oh, stick behind me is gonna kill me. Take my head off with the paddle.
If rowing a boat with muscly women, any of whom could easily snap your neck, does not appeal, then perhaps the highest point in Montreal, Montreal, would be more fun. It's a park designed by Frederick Olmsted, famous for such other parks as Central Park.
Every Sunday they'll have the tam-tams where everyone gets together and just bangs on some drums. Artistic, musical, you know, showers and dreadlocks and loose clothing. Smoke lots of pot.
Of course, Montreal is large, enabling a variety of outdoor pursuits I find equally unattractive.
Behind us is actually les guerriers de la montagne. The warriors of the mountain come here to actually fight. So what they do is they bring their own weapons. We fight and we have fun. These are actually weapons that we make ourselves and we actually certify before they come in the field. That if you come to the mountain on a Sunday, it doesn't matter if it's your first time, you're 5 years old or 55 years old, we'll accept you in the matter that you can fight to your physical abilities.
Don't want a battle to be Lord of the Geeks? Perhaps the St. Lawrence River is more your speed. Just across from Old Montreal, there's a permanent wave here caused by swiftly moving water over the river bottom, I'm told, so surf's up always.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. It was awesome. What's at the end of the rainbow?
Brasserie Le Capri, old working class neighborhood. This used to be heavy industry, steel. Still is working class neighborhood, Point St. Charles. It's gentrifying slowly. The canal has changed a lot. The old warehouses have turned into condominiums, but you know what? It's still a charming part of Montreal, undiscovered.
Brasserie Capri in Montreal's Sud-West neighborhood. A pub, a Canadian pub, a Quebecois pub more accurately, and exactly what I like. Big hunks of freaking pork knuckle. Yes, now I am happy. Get rid of that clock. You're ruining my buzz, man.
That's awesome. The old French guys, bro. We run into less and less of them, I'm telling you. These authentic pubs are disappearing. Yeah. The old culture, you know, this like kind of old sugar shack, drinking large beer, you know, and eating traditional food in summer. Yeah, these places get bought up and turned into green apple martini, lychee martini bars.
This you don't see much of elsewhere. This is a dying art. Marinated and boiled pork knuckle served with boiled potatoes. Fred has another local classic, pea soup.
That's what we're called, no? The pea soups? Who calls us that?
Ontarians. Yeah. Anglophone Ontarians called French Canadians pea soups.
The other one calls us the frogs.
Good pig's foot, no?
Yeah, what society would not benefit from having one of these places?
You could also visit such other fine establishments like, say, Dominion Square Tavern or Orange Julep. Dominion Square is downtown.
The tavern has been here since 1927, one of the first taverns in Montreal. Put all the love and a little bit of money in here to bring it back to what we think was a tavern in the 20s in Montreal.
You come in after work, you can have some moules frites, which are delicious mussels with fries.
And bacon.
And bacon. Almost every whiskey we can get our hands on here, and that's my drink of choice. So their cocktails are some of the best in town.
Greasy hands, greasier food, delicious. Join your fellow gearheads over at Orange Julep for a frothy beverage.
The oldest drive-in in Quebec. It was born in 1932. There's almost an automotive night happening here every night of the week. The muscle cars and the hot rods and the classic cars. I guess more so than the hamburger and the hot dogs and the French fries, what really draws people to the julep is the orange julep, which is probably a secret formula handed down through the generations. And to the best of my knowledge, it's a mixture of milk and orange juice. But there probably is something else in there because I've tried making an orange julep at home and it just hasn't been the same.
But let's not go nuts. We still got to eat.
Yeah, right. We're eating your place, right?
We've been foraging a lot. Urban foraging.
want to be a local when you're visiting Montreal, make sure you greet people with 2 kisses on the cheek.
Like that, and it's done. You're good to go after that.
Woman to woman, man to man, man to woman. It's not a sexual thing.
And I love kissing Americans because they're not ready at all for it, eh? Now, hey, and you just go for it. You take them by the hand and you pull them into your, like, to your zone. Like, you can feel them crisping up.
The French way is to go from left to right. And so sometimes people don't know that. So we end up going mouth to mouth, which is really awkward.
About 14 hours into my layover in Montreal, and it's time to stop around. Montreal is a chef town. It's a stay up late and have a good time town. Food and drink, that's something they do well, and often to excess here, yet always with panache. Montreal's Little Burgundy neighborhood, once a divey, neglected part of town, but then came this, the magnificent Joe Beef, flagship restaurant of these 2 characters, Fred and Dave. Mention their names to any chef who they have ever hosted, and there will be an embarrassing anecdote. Unconsciousness, public nudity, scandal, deliciousness. Joe Beef, the place's namesake, was a quartermaster for the British during the Crimean War. His, some say, supernatural ability to scrounge meat for his men, even when the chips were down, made him a legend. His legendarily bawdy, shall we say, tavern in Montreal made him a larger-than-life figure in the history of Montreal's drinking class. It was only right, then, that these 2 continued the proud tradition, while boldly forging some of their own.
I saw a tweet one day that says, Fred and Dave are revolutionizing the urban gardening scene.
Right.
But this is because I like it. There's no other reason, you know? When I was a kid, the only time I skipped school was the garden.
Between feeding some of the world's notable culinarians lethal amounts of alcohol and food and tormenting hipsters, the boys have apparently taken an interest in green stuff.
These are people that don't have a reservation, most likely. Yeah. And they got stuck with the garden table.
Who knew this is a side of you guys I didn't know.
Yeah, we also do lymph node massage.
Lymph
node.
A little aromatherapy later.
Next year, we're ripping everything out and building condos.
A tasting of lymph node. When we make potage parmentier, and I tell the first step of the recipe, first you take a leak.
You're going to hell for that.
The menu up there in chalk is wonderful and unapologetically over the top at times, and it changes daily.
This is clams on a radio.
Why?
Yeah.
Why not?
You remember maybe like 4 or 5 years ago in Montreal, it was all like, I'm gonna feed you the inside of the rectum filled with like what I think is like but made out of blood, you know? It was
Right.
like an up the ante.
People were getting a little over exuberant.
Everybody was trying to outdo each other awful-wise.
Right.
Double stuffed cheeks and boyau with andouillettes made out of crab guts. And
then we brought in ingredients that were not food related. Fan of Morse code as a child and everything, and I collect old radio, and I brought old radios and we served clams on a radio, oysters on a radio and everything, like, you know
we
what?
also did oysters on the ketchup can.
And
oysters on the tomato can.
And we do razor clams on erotic novels. At this point, is it food or is it art? I wonder. You know,
chefs will start mentioning, my inspiration for the food is Kandinsky or Cy Twombly or blah, blah, blah. I say, really? Are you joking? Art goes in your eye. Food goes in your mouth.
You know?
Good though, but Tony, how good is this clam stuffed?
Damn good.
The mythological double down. It's like the Kentucky Fried Chicken double down.
It's like 2 pieces of foie gras.
What?
Fictitious KFC batter. The bacon we make here, the smoked cheddar we make here, and the mayonnaise we make, but instead of using egg yolk, we use reduced chicken stock. It's like gravy mayonnaise.
What's not to like? It's an obscenity and a crime against God and all that's decent, but it's delicious. I'm already on Lipitor, you know.
People have written about this tiny restaurant all over North America based on a fancy worm that we put on a clever hook. Sad a bit,
but
you know, but lots of press has come of the clever worm.
Well, there's a style now also. You guys are becoming known for as much an attitude as dishes.
The only problem you might have here is being unable to get a reservation. In which case you could, I suppose, with tail between your legs, slink off to either L'Express or the Rôtisserie Romadot, both perfectly excellent bistro brasserie type joints with francophilic bents, and really both quite good. Hey, look, it's Adam again at L'Express. Tough titty for you, big boy. I'm at Joe Beef.
It's simple, it's humble, it's classic bistro fare. It's steak and frites, bone marrow, trout salad. It's not too expensive, so it's got a pretty democratic appeal. And it's really fun to eat at the bar here. You feel like you're in the center of it all.
Also in the Plateau neighborhood, this popular place, Le Rôtisserie, that means they roast stuff, Romadon.
It's Portuguese chicken. It's cheap. This is an average plate for like $8. The spices, oh my God, I love them. You have the choice between regular sauce or spicy sauce. In my neighborhood, we got other chicken too, but we roll from far away just to get Romadon's chicken.
But this place is where you want to be, sucking down oysters and good wine at Joe Beef.
Beef and chicken and everything.
Duck, lamb. It's a duck chop, you know, from the whole back of the duck. Protein make you big and strong. Eat a lot of protein. Speeds up your metabolism. Makes you lose weight the more protein you eat.
It makes you smarter, more aggressive.
Yeah.
Nobody's victim, nobody's doormat when you're eating plenty of red meat.
While it's difficult to leave this Everest of meat, I scurry off, as I promised late night drinks with a few more friends.
You can always pick out a tourist, I guess, an American or English tourist by the way they say merci, merci, merci to like everything, even when they don't need to, which is cool. Hey, you never can get enough thank yous. And you can really pick out the French tourists by how they look at you, and strangely, they speak the same language as you, but they'll still put on a little snobby air and be like, pardon? Pardon, c'est par où le Cirque du Soleil? And they'll pretend not to understand. So there's always language issues in Montreal, but we love.
Layover, right? So, gotta refer to that clock graphic, tick it away. Like I'm actually doing something important. Like only 24 hours to find the nerve gas. Anywho, if you were to ask visiting chefs and dignitaries from the world of gastronomy who in Montreal is more terrifying, the Joe Beef dudes or this man, Au Pied de Cochon's Martin Picard, you'd get a pretty spirited, not to say entertaining, argument. But if you were to announce that you'd be hanging out with all of them, all in one evening, no one would believe you. That, by common consensus, would be suicide. Brasserie T is in the Quartier du Spectacle, an area surrounded by performance halls, theaters, and a festival plaza, right in downtown Montreal. Normally, I wouldn't even think about coming here just for drinks. This is, after all, the newest place from Chef Normand Laprise, the godfather of Montreal fine dining and mentor to just about every great chef in town.
Chef, how goes it, that?
This is my spiritual
mentor, of course.
Yeah.
Everybody's daddy.
If Normand Laprise is the godfather, one might continue to torture the metaphor by referring to Martin as the Michael Corleone of Montreal's food scene.
Those are my friends. You know NFL? We do have the same thing. It's CFL, and those guys are often coming to our restaurant.
These guys, by the way, are the team of the Grey Cup winning Montreal Alouettes, which makes perfect sense.
The only way in my life that I found, to look small.
Hang out with bigger guys.
No way I'm getting out of this alive.
Can I make you a little taste about something?
Beautiful.
Very small.
Okay, I'm dead.
Oh, what is this?
So this one is
the cheese head.
Yeah.
With classic vinaigrette with the mustard, and the smoked saucisson with a puree of apple and honey on a brioche.
Beautiful. Thank you.
And everything is homemade, huh? Yeah, everything is homemade.
A couple of brilliant preparations using local mushrooms like this one with Giraud.
The green peas, fresh green peas, and the Giraud.
Sea bean, yeah.
Yeah, sea beans, you're right.
And this.
So mushrooms, eggs, awesome. This is on the regular menu?
Yeah.
It's extraordinary.
Pork salad? Of course. Why not? Escargot made with sea snails and this lobster with herb chanterelle salad.
I'm guessing this is from near here?
That's a baby lobster.
It's a baby. Holy crap, look at this thing. It's a monster.
If I were a reasonable man, a smart man, I would have retreated to my hotel long ago. but I am a flawed vessel.
This is Gary Busey, man. Come on, let's go.
I carry within me, as so many do, the seeds of my own destruction. A Rumsfeldian delusional belief in my own infallibility.
I think it's a win-win situation, actually. If we get arrested, it's good. Come on, it's good.
This kind of thing leads, inevitably, to tragedy and daytime talk shows on ABC.
Is it true the Hells Angels control all of organized crime in Canada?
Big in Japan. I've never been here before, but I know what happens here. It's like going in the doctor's office and he's got stirrups and he's putting on the glove and some kind of machine starts whirring. You have a pretty good idea what comes next.
When we first opened, regular opening hours were 11 in the morning until around midnight, and then one night at midnight in walks Chef Normand Laprise. I'm doing the cash, music's off, and they look at me like, "Oh, we're so sorry, are you closed?" And I said, "No chance in hell are we closed."
Bad man.
I make a little wink at Chef in the kitchen, and I'm like, "You better start sending food out now." And I go grab the bottle of whiskey, and the rest is history.
Open 7 days a week until 3 a.m., Big in Japan has quickly ascended to Montreal's premier service provider for drunk-ass chefs after work. Sake? Of course. Chinese whiskey? Oh God, no! That is a moment of truth kind of a decision.
So you're saying Celine Dion is a revered national hero, an expression of Quebec aspirations and pride.
She's the greatest all over the world.
In maybe some alternate Canadian universe. Would you
Huh?
Would you
You don't have to her. What do you want to her? That doesn't make sense.
And I believe that this was the exact moment in the evening you can isolate like that split second in the Zapruder film where we started to lose Martin.
Doesn't work. That's kind of an obsession.
He went out, you should know, like a hero, and defending Celine Dion to the last.
As all great heroes throughout history eventually meet their Troy, we all of us have our Waterloo. And mine will be in about 15 minutes.
Liquor mop needed. Stat. Must have taco.
We took some casualties. A couple of men down, but we're here.
Montreal's Grumman 78 taco is like a magnet for the alcoholically impaired.
Hey, there's nobody here, mother.
Gail Surf, who I know, God help me, from such places as Au Pied de Cochon.
We're not allowed to sell on the street, so...
Really? Wait, this is monstrous. They won't let you sell food out of the trunk.
No, not
Why?
in Montreal. Montreal has been like that for over 40 years now.
Food trucks in Montreal were banned many decades ago for hygiene reasons, and supposedly former Mayor Drapeau found them ugly too. Today it is a sad law, stuck in antiquity.
I can get a taco in there.
Oh, for sure.
Done.
For now, one can get these fine tacos on weekends anyway, at Nouveau Palais in Mile End.
Oh, man, that's good. Really good.
Vegetarian tacos.
No way. Man, that was good. It was vegetarian, really?
Yes, no meat.
I'm so ashamed. It feels so dirty. Where's the meat one?
You're eating a Szechuan pork scallopini with salt and pepper fried with a mixer.
The taco is a perfect delivery system for something savory, hot, spicy, salty. But, I mean, if you can't serve it out of a truck. Dear government of Montreal, it's this great, great city with a great food culture. The average New Yorker, why do they come to Montreal? Because they want to get drunk and they want to eat good food like this out of a truck.
One of the things I recommend for visitors is patience, only because somehow, we're always constructing. There's always a road being built or demolished, so you have to be patient for that.
You have to watch out for the concierges at the hotels. They could be sometimes
very well greased.
Very well greased by some more devious Montreal restaurateurs.
If you need one sentence in Montreal in French, you can say, "Voulez-vous faire l'amour avec moi?"
In the final hours of the night, I vaguely remember the Montreal Chef's Brigade taking me in for an hour or two of sleep and a shower. I do not recall hurting anyone. There was, to the best of my recollection, no karaoke, no lap dances, no drunk dialing of my 4th grade social studies teacher.
Big dude died.
Next day, the morning after, so to speak, I am grateful to be alive and living in hope. Headache? Yes. Still, I rise, I pack, I cough yellow bile into the bidet, and I head for the airport. But I give myself just enough time for something I just have to do. And you know, you should too.
Smoked meat. You can't not do this when you come to Montreal. There's no way out. Gotta do it.
And Schwartz's here, opened in like 1928, is not just Canada's oldest, but arguably the best at this pastrami-like magical substance. Marinated, they say, for 10 days in the inevitable blend of secret herbs and spices. Oh, who cares how they make it?
What Carnegie Deli is to New York, Schwartz's is to Montreal, but even more so because it's such a tradition. And you probably have to sit at the table with people you don't know and be abused by the staff.
All you need to know is it's really good. So good that it's well worth pushing yourself through the crowd, sitting down cheek by jowl with strangers, and eating one of these gloriously messy mountains of meat.
A smoked meat sandwich, cherry soda, and a pickle for sure.
I can choose the meat clean, medium.
Medium. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Oh, thank you, sir. Always do. Pretty, right? Still steaming. How do you hold these things together? That's a challenge. Man, that's good. I'm ripping right through this. And I won't be needing my in-flight meal. Traveler's tip. About to get on a plane, eat something good before you go to the airport. Something big and good that'll like knock you on your ass. Then you're out on the plane. I'll be unconscious by takeoff.
Like the great bagel debate, is it pastrami or something else?
New York pastrami, Montreal smoked meat. Tough call. This stuff is good.
In the end, who really cares? It's freaking good. And that, my friends, is all you need to know.
I can leave Montreal with a clean conscience now. Off to the airport.
Maybe stopping off to get some over-the-counter coatings. They're legal here. And some other low-cost pharmaceuticals. They should really give us their drugs, and their chefs, and Neil Young. We can give them back Celine Dion. That would be good.